Last time on the Randomiser.
A new planet in our solar system.
It is in the same orbit as Earth, but directly on the opposite side of the sun. You be prepared to recommend that the United States should contribute $1 billion to a manned flight conducted by Eurosec.
Yes.
What else do you suggest?
Putting an American astronaut on the team.
Glenn Ross?
You're an administrator. You know when a rocket's ready, but you don't know when a man's ready. Kane isn't.
We've been developing a lift body for controlled landings. If analysis confirms an atmosphere on the new planet, we'll use that as the last stage.
Liftoff. Well, she flies. See you in 3 weeks.
Let's hope the alarm clock goes off.
That better. You made it.
And now the conclusion.
So, welcome back to Doppelgänger on the Randomiser. It's been a whole week for you, but it hasn't been any time at all for me. Although I've been sitting here watching the Sleeping Astronauts sequence, which I think is one of the film's, most blatant attempts to go a bit 2001 with sort of spacey visuals and trippiness. But Glenn and John are back with us, both bearded. Oh, and it looks like someone sorted out Thinis's cables for him in the week since we last saw him. Yes, of course, 2001 would have been the biggest box office, science fiction box office influence on this film, which, to tell you the truth, and this may surprise you considering I'm talking about this film and also I have spoken many times about Space 1999, I've never actually seen 2001. There's quite a lot of films I've never seen, but I suppose I should look at 2001 someday. Of course, if anyone wants to buy me the Blu-ray, it was Christmas. Yeah, it's not Christmas when I'm recording this, not yet.
Bang on target.
But it will be. Once you've heard this, it will have been Christmas.
There are clouds, Glenn.
Yay!
So there is an atmosphere.
So we're at the new planet.
All right, preliminary orbit 34,000 miles from planet surface is planned, right?
All is well.
Okay, 2 orbits to mark out electronic survey, and we decide to land or not to land.
And if you're not going to land, you should probably get shaving. I would have liked to have been in the audience, actually, when this first went out. I would like to have seen what a contemporary cinema audience's reaction to this would have been. Because, of course, at this point, the general public wouldn't have seen any live-action Anderson sci-fi, because UFO was still a year and a bit away. I'm sure it would have had all the usual, it's Thunderbirds without puppets, but,
let's have it.
Mass and gravitational pull, similar to
I don't know, the obvious 2001 influence, which I mean, I could be completely wrong there, because as I said, I've never seen it. But it does feel like there are certain sequences where the film is trying to ape that kind of style, and then there are moments where it gets kind of bogged down in the Andersonness of pushing buttons and reciting technical stuff to each other.
You said to land or not to land.
But here it comes. That is the question.
Well, this is one we can't put through the computer. What do you think?
I think, on the result of the survey, we don't have a choice. You?
I'm for go.
Let's go, then.
Going home it is. No, that's not what I meant.
Landing orbit coming up.
And, of course, to do a landing orbit, we have to have another long sequence. And this stuff looks beautiful, especially this sunrise over the new planet as the Phoenix sits in orbit. But now we transfer to the Dove, which is another long, slow sequence.
30 seconds.
Okay.
So, after a long, lengthy transfer to the Dove scene, which I did talk over and just cut because it's absolutely deathly dull, that sequence, we're off.
10 seconds. Right. If we have any trouble with the guidance system, give me manual straight away.
Okay.
Here we go.
And the Phoenix, I've got to say actually, the Phoenix and the Dove, as vehicle designs, neither of them have ever really done much for me. I think they're just a bit too boxy. Which is a shame because I particularly want to like the Dove. It's almost there for me, but not quite. Anyway, this this movie does like to take its time, showing you every single step of the transfer and the launch, and very, very slowly pulling away from the Phoenix. Oh! Some wave of relief came over me with that music.
Computer checks. Main retro is 5 seconds.
Roger. 3, 2, 1.
Ah, was that the sound effect of Tex Tucker's gun there? Yes, as we enter a storm on the new planet. I think we could have done with being here a bit sooner, really. Just cut from the Phoenix to this storm they find themselves in a bit more quickly.
3 minutes to manual, 4 minutes to touchdown.
Yeah, that is Tex Tucker's gun.
Manual!
And for this film, that's some noticeably quite poor integration of the Dove onto the landscape footage there. They didn't choose the site of their landing very well. And considering what we later find out, it is quite surprising that they missed some heavily populated areas and decided to land in the middle of nowhere. Although it does create the illusion for a little while that perhaps this is a truly alien world and not what we're about to find out that it actually is. This Dove crash looks beautiful. Just slightly unbelievable that they could crash the thing and Hendry would be thrown clear. I would have thought that crash landing of something that unmaneuverable, they would have both been toast, but no, he was thrown clear. Where's Thinis? Where's Thinis? He's still in the wreck. And this is quite an understated moment of bravery on Hendry's part. If he hadn't gone back for Thinis, Hendry at least would have lived. Spoiler alert, he's about to suffer catastrophic injuries because he went back to save Thinis. Because the British guy went back to save the American guy. He wasn't down when the ship exploded, and of course he didn't have his helmet on, like Thinis. Oh dear. Well, Hendry has been knocked about and burnt a bit. Doesn't look good for him. So what's Thinis going to do now? This is a very, very sad end to their journey to the far side of the sun. It all went to custard a bit quickly for them. Oh, searchlights. UFO end credits music as well. Again, Barry Gray has got a whole stockpile of spooky, ethereal, weird-sounding music by this point, so it's kind of just Frankenstein a few different tracks together, and it'll do. We've got more important, more grander themes to compose. That's it. Thinis is going to throw Hendry over his shoulders, and they're getting out of there. But they're surrounded by a crevasse. Also what I think might have been the edge of the model set there. I'm not entirely certain. I'll have to go back and look at that later. Oh, the searchlights have spotted their gear. And now the two of them. Oh. And it's one of those things where for a moment you think they have landed on an alien planet. Here comes an alien. And it's someone who just happens to wear a very weird article of clothing for their job. And also isn't above slapping people. This is an air-sea rescue guy, for those who haven't seen the film, and he's just smacked Thinis in the face, knocked him out. Admittedly, Thinis was about to shoot him, but even so, you don't shoot yet another familiar face from both UFO and the Protectors.
Do you speak English? I'm Air Sea Rescue, Ulaanbaatar.
Anthony Chin. But there's no reason why an Air Sea Rescue man would have a domed helmet, green leather alien skin-like suit, red googly eyes, and what looks like a harmonica as a breathing device. I do like that shot, though, of the debris landing on the remains of the discarded spacesuit and helmet. And now here comes another familiar face, this time from the past of the Anderson universe. Actually, I shouldn't say familiar face, I should say familiar voice. The voice will be familiar, the face perhaps not.
Well, the results of the electronic medical check. He's in pretty good shape. But the readouts on items 20, 27, and 32 don't make sense.
Yep, it's Cy Grant, aka Lieutenant
They
Green.
don't. Check the computer.
It was checked out this morning.
Then check it out again. Never trust them.
And I think he's there because, again, you want to be uncertain of where you are. You don't want to reveal straight away that they're back at Eurosec by putting Wymark or Philip Maddock, who was just there, in the camera. Put an unfamiliar face in there just for a moment, and then you pan over from Cy Grant to Wymark.
Everything he says to be recorded.
Looking very cheesed off.
I want a total security blackout on news of their return. Till we find out what the devil's gone wrong.
What about that Mongolian rescue team?
Kill them!
I had a word with my opposite number in the Soviet Academy of Space Science. They've agreed to cooperate.
Oh, good.
Does the clampdown include Mrs. Ross?
No, tell her to stand by.
I wouldn't want to clamp her down. She's mean.
No one, except authorized personnel, are to see any of the results till all the computers have been completely rechecked. You're responsible.
It's my department.
That's not an answer. Oh, I like having Patrick Wymark to deal with. I'm not going to get to do a Patrick Wymark impression after this episode.
He's still conscious.
And Colonel Ross?
Apart from shock and superficial burning located in
Is he fit?
You guys don't mind if I start reviewing Power Game episodes, do you? I want to do more Wymark. Ah, so it's not looking good for John Kane, but Glenn Ross is up and about. You'll be pleased to know. And since he's up and about, we're going to interrogate him. And this interrogation room it's a round room with a sort of bowl in the centre for the interrogatee to sit on a chair for his interrogation by
To go through with this?
Newman and Lisa.
Job.
Yes. And as yet, cleverly, neither the film nor Glenn Ross as a character has called attention to the fact that all the writing is reversed on the
briefing center.
the clothing and the hairstyles, particularly the Eurosec logo is most notable. And of course, it's strange to think that all of this footage is
We did not turn back.
presumably flopped from how it would have been originally shot.
We reached the new planet, yes.
I would have to assume that they just
a journey of 6 weeks.
made Hendry and Thinnis's gear mirrored and their hairdos, and then just flopped the footage.
Completed the electronic survey.
There's no way in heck that they created a load of flopped Eurosec insignia and so forth.
On Earth.
On the planet.
You're here, on Earth.
To the planet and back in 3 weeks.
I don't know. There's a lot I can't explain.
You left Earth.
And this chair that Thinnis is sitting in, it revolves to face whichever person is asking him questions. I don't know if it's intentional, but it kind of looks to me like this would just succeed in making
Why?
the interviewee just feel kind of sick.
Why?
I'm sending Ross home.
He was very, very sick in the interrogation room.
The interrogation leaves us with two possibilities. One, Ross aborted the mission and turned back. If that was the case, he denied for obvious reasons. Two, Ross genuinely believes he made the journey to the new planet, and he is as surprised as we are that when he landed, he found himself back on Earth. This is a theory I prefer to believe.
This is a nice part of Webb's characterization, although Wymark is well known for playing
Sign of life on
angry, almost stick-in-the-mud type characters. Webb is, although he has some of those tropes within his personality, he is quite prepared to accept
All right.
the unexpected and the unexplained.
But 3 weeks to the planet.
He wants to believe in his people, but he also knows that the science and the maths don't add up.
So they turn back. It still doesn't make sense.
And the character didn't need to be this sympathetic. He could have just been the arrogant, hot-headed commander.
The council felt railroaded into this project from the start.
Someone who saw no room for imagination in resolving a problem. It's all about money and business and politics and...
You can't do that without the flight recorder. And that's still on the Phoenix.
Arrangements have been made to bring that back.
Oh.
When is Poulsen due back from the States?
Not till the 17th.
Thank God for that.
We wouldn't want any more Ed Bishop in this film. Yeah, Ed Bishop just gone from the film. Quite a few characters just disappear from the film like that.
Glenn, what really happened? What made you turn back?
We didn't turn back.
So, Sharon's come to pick him
You're
up.
covering for John Kane, aren't you?
No, there's nothing to cover for.
Ooh.
The hell are you doing?
The guy was on the wrong side of the road.
It's odd that he's only just figuring out now. I know he's been through a lot, and he probably had a
Must have been rough.
sore tummy after the interrogation chair. But it's odd that he would get in the flopped car and not question anything
I'll go make some coffee.
until they were almost all the way home, and then he noticed the truck. Now he's home, he's going to notice one or two things out of place. Like that fish tank. Those flowers weren't there before. That door didn't go that way. What's my bathroom doing over here? That's the killer, that's the clue. He reached for a light switch that was on the opposite side of the door. Wow.
Sharon, what's going on?
Yes, now we're coming up on the reveal of the
Know damn well what it is, this room.
nature of the other planet.
It's changed. Know what the hell's happened here?
Because again, spoiler alert, they didn't turn back. This is the planet that they were aiming to get to. A complete duplicate of their own world, right down to exact copies
Well, some disorientation isn't unusual after a protracted period in space.
of everybody on it.
Yeah, Matt, but it's never happened on any previous space flights.
All right, keep me informed. If things get worse, I promise immediate action.
Philip Maddock has a very blue office, blue painted walls, and a painting of 2 different shades of blue. Oh, Thinnis has gone to bed. Next morning, I presume it's the next morning, it's shaving time. And that bottle of cologne, the writing, looks right in his mirror, but wrong to his own eyes. Test this out by placing it up against the mirror. It is one of those things where I think we are quite a few steps ahead of the character on this point. Oh no, that was expensive.
What is it?
And I can kind of sympathise a little with Sharon Ross here, even though she's been a bit of a moo up to this point. You know, to her eyes, everything is normal except her husband.
What's wrong?
The writing is reversed.
To her husband's eyes, everything is wrong, even this watch.
Everything is reversed.
Which again, even despite their marital problems and so on... Oh, there's no need for that. Oh, but here come the shadow jeeps. And the men in... Oh no, not white coats, yellow coats. This is Anderson Medical smocks.
Jason, this is urgent. I must see you right away.
And that's nice. John Kelly got a trip to Portugal
Yeah, what is it? Over here, Colonel.
to play I keep wanting to say Shadow Medic. He's not Shadow, it's Eurosec. Dubbed by, again, Jeremy Wilkin. That's it, Thinnis is out. Here's the other Doppelgänger car. Carrying Newman and Lisa, arriving just in time to see Thinnis being carried away. It's suddenly all go.
This does it. I'm getting out of here.
You don't mean that, Sharon.
You bet I do.
What happened after he smashed all the bottles?
He went crazy. He said his own handwriting was reversed, my watch, everything. Well, look at this. Does this look reversed to you? The man's gone out of his mind.
We don't know that yet.
Well, you may not, but I do. I'm his wife. Remember that.
And I think this is her last scene in the film. She's off. She's had enough of this.
He hit me.
It was the flight.
It was before the flight. And like I said, I'm getting out of here.
We know about your personal life, Mrs. Ross. It's our job. But you better forget these ideas you have about leaving.
Has George Sewell got a camera in their shower?
In this house. But I can and will stop you leaving Eurosec.
Oh. Well, that's a threat. And that was it for Sharon Ross. We don't know where she went after that. Presumably she didn't stay at home.
So, everything is reversed, huh?
Everything.
And here comes yet another face we're going to see a lot of in UFO.
All right.
It's Vladek Sheybal.
Set it up.
The one and only, the glorious Vladek Sheybal. I would love to know how he ended up in this film, why he's only in this one short scene.
Now, watch the mirror, please.
Oh no, he's in two, I think. Holding up this board.
Read it!
Fire emergency checklist. In the event
That they are showing him in the mirror. Of course, to their eyes, it's reversed text, but which to them looks fine. To Ross, it should look wrong, but doesn't. And of course, that fireboard sign
the hell more do you want?
thing turns up in an episode of The Persuaders. As does John Cain's resignation letter. It's the absolute last place you'd expect to see something from a relatively serious film turn up, is in a show as light-hearted as The Persuaders, but yeah, more than once. Doppelgänger stuff in Persuaders. And now we get another trippy dream sequence, which again is a bit of 2001 inspired visual weirdness. Recapping, a bit I really wish we don't have to see again, because Thinnis does not look good slapping his wife around, but then it's revealed that it's Lisa. Because that character he had one scene with, I guess he's in love with her, and she's in love with him. And some nice mirrored effects though on the replay of the sequence of the dove crash. But of course we already know all this stuff, so it doesn't add much to the viewing experience from our point of view, but some nice mirroring of the ships and the people, and oh goodness, there's that Air Sea Rescue costume. It's one of the most ridiculous things. Yeah, I would say that's actually the most ridiculous thing in this film, which, considering they've landed on a planet of their own doppelgangers, is quite impressive.
Why?
I realise I'm starting to sound a bit down on this film now, and I'm really not. It's some spectacular visuals, superb performances, but the central idea of precise doubles on the other planet. It's a great, as many people have said, it's a great Twilight Zone episode idea. It just doesn't feel very Anderson-y. It kind of feels a bit cheap, hey, here's this alien world, what could be there? Exactly what's already here. Don't know. Oh, isn't the sequence over yet?
Why did you turn back?
We crashed.
Why?
Well, that's that done. Whatever it was, we had to do it. We're now in Vladek Sheybal's office.
Satisfied?
He too has some weird paintings on the walls.
Satisfied that I was telling the truth about the new planet.
You're bound to be a little confused until the drug wears off.
You were trying to check out my story, right?
Huh?
You couldn't fault it, right?
No, we couldn't fault it.
All right.
It looks like a squashed ladybird on his wall. Oh yeah, John Cain. I'd forgotten about him. Yes, second build star Ian Hendry. Now barely alive in a life support machine. With Wymark yelling at him on the other side. And he just barely has enough energy to open his eyes and try to speak. Again, it's an understated, subtle, tragic element to this character that in going back for Thinnis, he sacrificed his own life. And I don't think there's really any acknowledgement of that on Thinnis's part, I suppose because he was unconscious really, but Yeah, no one in the film will ever know that Hendry made that sacrifice. It's all very sad. Meanwhile, Finnis is now in Jason's office, looking at mirrors, smoking thoughtfully, wondering how long it's going to be before somebody offers him a drink. And I believe I read an interview somewhere with Finnis where he said that although he was a smoker at the time, he actually became ill from the amount of smoking that he had to do in this film, which I suppose in the, you know, on the scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, I don't know, the amount of smoking you see in Joe 90 and 10 being UFO, this film is about a 7 maybe, possibly a 6.5, but yeah. I guess they had to do a lot of retakes. Oh, come on. Yeah, I like this film. I like this film a lot. I have a lot of time for this film. I just wish if it was just 10 minutes shorter and we could speed up some of the slightly duller scenes, because I do think it does the film a disservice that we as the viewers are quite a way ahead of the characters for at least 15 minutes before they really figure out what's actually happened here. Webb has finally shown up.
I'm sorry I'm late. I was detained at the medical center.
I was yelling at Ian Hendry.
I said it was very important.
No, Jason, you sit down. Now, you've checked me, interrogated me, you've looked into my brain, and you've found out nothing. I want you to sit down and listen to me.
Nobody talks like that to Patrick Wymark. No, he's going to do it, though.
I'm listening.
He's listening.
Now, what I'm going to tell you is bizarre, weird. But it's the only theory that fits the facts.
I've put Brussels sprouts in my underwear.
Suppose a complete duplication of matter.
Yeah.
A situation where every single atom, every molecule here is duplicated here, except that it's in reverse.
And I like this shot of him making this presentation in front of Webb's wall chart. Well, a map showing the two planets.
At precisely the same time to travel to Earth.
This shot of a duplicate Finnis,
You know, as Colonel Ross,
making the same presentation at the same time.
Except reversed room.
It's kind of slightly cheesy, but it does call into question
Chair rubbing his hands together at this exact moment.
the idea of whether or not, although these two planets are exact duplicates, whether events are unfolding in the same way and at the same time. And I think that shot is meant to establish that, yes, they are. I have seen some people saying, you know, it doesn't have to be unfolding at the same time on the other planet. And they're right, it doesn't have to be, but I think that shot kind of says, actually, we are supposed to believe this is...
These two planets have a physical connection.
This is happening simultaneously on both worlds.
Unlike the reflection in the mirror, they both exist. For every person on one planet, there is a double on the other. Don't you understand? Until a few days ago, you and I had never met.
Are you trying to tell me that you don't know any of the people here?
Only their doppelgangers.
They're what?
Doppelgangers. Doubles. If you want a literal translation, the mirrored images of themselves.
Does it mean mirrored? I know it means double, but I don't know if yeah, the doubles thing is hard enough to explain. The fact that it's mirrored, again, it creates some nice visual imagery.
Well, I could.
Beyond that, there's not much point to it.
Got your call. Dr. Pontini had just completed a post-mortem on John Kane.
Oh, excuse me, John Kane is dead?
His internal organs were found to be on the opposite side from normal. My normal, that is.
Don't just break it to Roy Thinnis like that.
It was all there on the computer readout when you had your electronic medicals. So you see, your theory holds up. It would seem I'm not the Jason Webb that you know. Only an impish doppelganger.
Ah, a little comedy moment, and there's another word Wymark can really stretch out. Doppelganger.
It's only a theory.
Well, it's the best you come up with, but we can't prove it till we've recovered the Phoenix.
I love this. As I've said before, I love the fact that Webb is so instantly on board with this crazy idea.
We'll have to reverse the controls and the electrical systems. Or does the polarity of electricity remain the same? If we're wrong, you do realize what would happen to you.
Oh, it's all right. You've got a guy in launch control who knows someone about the polarity of electricity and the reversal thereof. Oh, meanwhile...
Are you willing to take a chance on him, too?
Let's drink a lot. Well, Ross has got some thinking to do. Stare at his own reflection in the water. And there she is. There's Lisa. His would-be, could-be,
For your thoughts.
not really love interest.
If they are as confused as mine, maybe sharing them would help.
And this is not her... I can't remember the actress's name playing the physical role, but this is not her voice. She's dubbed by Nikki van der Zyl, who dubbed a lot of characters in various 60s and 70s television shows and films. She's in a lot of Bond films. She...
Are you going to recover the Phoenix?
She dubs several sort of girls of the week in various ITC shows. You know, anytime you hear a heavily accented foreign lady saying, "Oh, Mr. Templar, Mr. King, Mr. Randall," it's normally Nikki van der Zyl's voice, and I'm pretty certain that she dubbed the voices of Peter Duncan as Cantor and I can't remember the kid's name, but Etrek in The Mark of Arcanon in Space 1999.
In fact, I'm glad you're here. Someone to talk to.
So she's a very prolific voice artist. Whoa! Oh, I see. I see. He puts his arm around her and then we cut to rocket launching. I see what they're doing there. They're establishing that it's time for Ross to go home. All by himself. Poor old John Kane. Nobody gives a damn about the fact that Kane is dead.
Why did you reverse Doppelgänger, Colonel? It's an inside joke between me and myself. Good luck, sir.
Gary Files' voice, again, dubbing... I don't recognise that extra. Well, now we have an access ladder to get onto rockets. We didn't have that with a plane thing earlier. And a nice, simple, and more importantly, quick entry to the Dove for the return trip.
Proceed condition.
So we're heading off in the Dove to reconnect with the Phoenix. I think I spot there a plane that turned up in UFO.
This is Eurosec launch control. Phoenix on horizon. Liftoff, 8 seconds.
He's got a marvellous voice for this sort of thing, Keith Alexander.
Board computer indicates liftoff 5 seconds.
Well, we're coming into the last 10 minutes or so of Doppelgänger now, and I'm sitting here thinking, this is my last chance ever to talk about this film. I've got to cover anything I haven't mentioned yet. But mostly I just think, oh, Wymark. Why couldn't we have had more Patrick Wymark? Some familiar launch sound effects there as the Dove, speeds away very quickly. There's a mix of good shots, convincing shots, and a bit... The Dove is a bit of a wobbly model. You can sense the wires on it in certain shots. But everybody's here in the bunker. Well...
You couldn't stay away.
These two are. Webb and Lisa.
Control, this is Doppelgänger.
She loves him. She cares.
Control, this is Doppelgänger. Now leaving Earth's atmosphere.
Roger, Doppelgänger.
Do all the launch control personnel know the backstory behind what they're attempting to do here? I imagine most of them must do. It's strange how everyone is on board with this. Nobody has said, the duplicate planet there's an exact duplicate of me on another planet? How? It's one of those... we don't really have time to go into the whole philosophical ramifications of that concept, and it's fairly...
Phoenix, 20 miles ahead.
Drastic, but again, this is a sci-fi action film, so we're not really going to think about that too much.
I see it now.
Oh, there it is.
Control. Beginning docking maneuvers.
From now on, it'll be just as easy as parking a car.
For a man with...
Wymark, I would say, for the first and only time in this film, does look genuinely sloshed. He's slumped in his chair with his hair all over the place, waving his arms around as parking a car. I've had a few. I can park a spaceship. It's fine. I'm Patrick Wymark. Oh, you wonderful man. You were gone too soon.
We're about to dock, Jason. Any additional orders?
Proceed with docking.
Roger.
Oh, it's getting very tense. I do like as well there, and it's a strange decision that Barry Gray has composed this music, the extended stings in this sequence, to coincide with the firing of the retros on the Dove. Very clever. Not entirely necessary, but... Oh, here we go. We're opening the docking ports on the front of the Dove. This is the replacement Dove that we've built on the mirror Earth to connect with the Phoenix from the regular Earth. Will they connect? Oh, there's a Rolls-Royce logo. Had to squeeze that in there somewhere.
Call from Doppelgänger. Jason, we were...
Uh-oh.
There are 2 planets. There are definitely 2 identical...
Yeah, he knows there are 2 planets. He's seen the Rolls-Royce logo. That's confirmed it for him.
Doppelganger, say again. We lost your last
There's been an electrical short.
Repeat. We lost your last transmission.
Jason, I'm not reading you. Maybe you're reading me. The retros on the Phoenix have fired. I don't know why, but they've fired. I'm pulling out.
Oh, everything's breaking.
I say again, there are definitely 2 planets. Identical, but reversed in some way.
If only he could have saved that Rolls-Royce sticker.
Give him the automatic approach system.
Dove now in automatic control.
Roger.
Jeremy Wilkins dubbing another extra there. Nicholas Courtney is still in the building.
Stand by.
Oh, that's it. We're heading back to Earth. The Dove is falling out of orbit.
This is Doppelganger to launch control. If you're reading me, come in, please.
And, oh, yes, there goes the Phoenix. About to burn up in the atmosphere.
Pulled out of the Phoenix. Extensive damage all systems. One thing that's not reversed is the polarity of electricity. Instruments indicate negative, still negative, positive, still positive.
Hey. Well, it's not going to do you much good now, because we are now heading for something of a downbeat ending, to put it mildly. And again, something the Andersons had played with a little before, downbeat endings in
Is there a separate radar?
Captain Scarlet.
No, sir. Re-entry speed.
But this is the first time, really, we have an ending
Speed.
almost without hope, I would say, which is quite strange.
Second blip on screen. Could be the Dove.
Because Dennis is now heading back to Earth.
12,000 reducing.
In the Dove.
As far as I can see, sir. Angle of entry, fair.
Still under computer control. He can't do anything about landing.
Cut automatic approach system. I say again, cut automatic approach system. Unable to affect landing at Eurosec.
Maintain automatic approach system. We'll bring him right down the beam until he breaks contact with the final approach.
Launch control, if you read me, cut automatic approach system.
Oh no.
Get off beam.
Bit of a misunderstanding here. Each party is expecting the other party to be the one to break contact.
All stations.
Red alert. All stations.
Oh no.
Alert.
Into your jeeps, men. Lovely stuff. Yes, close up the gantry housing on the rocket. I don't know why we have another rocket ready to go. We built that very quickly. And as it turns out, rather foolishly. But now the bunker that Wymark and Lisa are in is being lowered underground. That at least will be safe. And Lisa's being led away. But does she get out of the building?
Launch control, cut automatic approach system. Unable to affect the landing at Eurosec. All vertical thrusters have failed.
So I guess at this point, Thinnis must know he's screwed.
Cut automatic approach system. Break contact.
If they'd cut the beam earlier, maybe he could have done some horizontal maneuvering to steer himself onto a different course. Unfortunately, they've cut contact too late. And wouldn't you know it, he's on a direct course for the not quite yet closed launch gantry building. Oh, and there was our hero. exploded, dead. Oh dear. And he is but the first of many. Because as the rocket goes up in flames, and this is just a gorgeous effect sequence, by the way. This is one of the greatest effect sequences in Anderson history. Huge spiraling tornado of fire hits what I believe is the medical center. And then a fuel can lands on top of it. Well, everyone in there was dead. Which is almost certainly Philip Maddock and Vladek Sheybal were in there at the time. And here it goes. The rocket is falling, and... Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's good stuff. And then this quiet pan across the devastated Eurosec complex. I love that we're pulling back into what is clearly a building, some empty room that's been completely trashed by what's happened. I do have some questions about this as an ending, though. The fact that we are now flashing forward to presumably several years in the future, where we meet what appears to be the only survivor of the disaster.
Dr. Pontini. The only witnesses gone. Records, X-rays, documents. Everything destroyed. So, are you surprised that no one believes me?
Yep, Jason Webb was apparently the only survivor of that disaster. Okay, it's nice that we're ending with Weimar, because again, as I've said all the way through, the absolute star of the film, but he was in the underground bunker when the complex was destroyed, but so too, at the very least, Lisa, Keith Alexander, Jeremy Wilkin, Nicholas Courtney, in fact a whole control room of launch technicians. Presumably there must have been other survivors, and yet the film seems to be ending on the note of it was kind of Jason is assumed delusional. He's in an old folks' home, looking very near the end of his days, but he sees a reflection at the end of the hall. Is that himself? Beckoning to himself? Well, there's only one way to find out. Wheel our wheelchair over there, and I love the look of just manic determination on his face there. It's like this old man has spent the last 10 years or whatever, nobody believes him, and then he gets to the closest to the truth he's ever going to get. And that moment where he hits the glass and obviously dies, there's the coloured lights suggesting something greater than just an old man's death. We'll never know because this ending is so sudden. Much like the film, we're out of time. This has been Doppelgänger. Goodbye.